Well, hello everybody. Welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis, with me, Mark. And we're joined by a new face today and an old face who's been with us since the beginning of these lives at the beginning of the month. That's Mike, of course, from Riff Raff Reading Renaissance. And we're joined today by the wonderful, melodious Jim from Mystery and Mayhem. Hey, Jim.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
How's everyone?
Hi, guys.
So we've got a few people in. So I guess a few people were able to tear themselves away from eating leftover turkeys in America. I'm assuming they're probably in America. They might not be, actually. They could be anywhere. But yeah, actually, probably most of the American audiences are still trapped under some 500-pound woman who was trying to buy a flat screen TV for $5 in the Black Friday sale. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So here we are, the final live of Dr. November 2025. It's very soon to be December. Can you believe it, guys? Honestly, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
No, it's been a quick year. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just whistle past. I don't know where.
This month's flown by. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. For me, it's been a terrible reading week. I haven't finished anything, and I'm up against it. So I don't know. We might not spend a huge amount of time actually discussing espionage, but we'll fill the hour somehow anyway. So I'm curious. We'll start with you, Mike, because you've got a few things you mentioned last week that maybe you finished, and then we'll go over to Jim. And I mean, Jim, you could probably talk for a bit because you can talk about we've read all month, I suppose, rather than just the last week. So
I haven't been doing a lot, but yeah,
right.
we'll get to that.
Wonderful. All right, Mike, how's your reading week been?
Well, I'm relieved to hear how bad yours is because it sets the bar relatively low. Because I've been signaling loud to BookTube that this is a particularly horrendous period of the year for me. And my biggest achievement, I think, has been that I finished both the Frederick Forsyth autobiography, because luckily I suddenly found myself on a flight between Durban and Cape Town, which takes 2 hours. And I thought, great, I can read this book. So I knocked it out. And it's everything one would imagine. Anybody who hasn't seen it before, this is Frederick Forsyth's autobiography called The Outsider. And I don't think I've chatted to you, Jim, about this, but I read all the Forsyths when I was much younger, or the big ones, you know, the Day of the Jackal and the Dogs of War and the Odessa File.
Nice.
I haven't read all the follow-ups. But I've always been quite intrigued by his style. And I have to say, if you like his novels, you'll love this. It's exactly the same rapid style, exciting pace. And the thing I found quite exciting is that you can see where each of the novels comes from through real lived experience. He's had a hell of a life. His dad sent him off as a kid to different countries each time there was a holiday. So he learned 5 languages and he ended up, you know, that just got him to a different level of access wherever he went. And I think I mentioned last week, I just got to the bit where he ends up in Israel and interviews David Ben-Gurion. You know, it's incredibly fast-paced and exciting and a well-told story. So that was great. And then I finished, I've been reading on and off. I finished my very first Ian Fleming. I'd never read an Ian Fleming, Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, really?
In this rather nice, this book I think I mentioned last time is the same age as me, so it's probably this might well be the last time it's read by anybody. On my own channel, I love to sort of just pause it and read a passage when some good writing stops me. And I was trying to decide, this being my first Fleming, we've said before that of course the books are so different from the movies, and in a way I think I like the books better because the movies are just fluff and entertaining. The books are quite gritty and well, on my sample of one, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm trying to get my head around Fleming's writing style, which sometimes is impressive and sometimes is just sort of storytelling. But I did want to share one passage that tickled my fancy. He's talking about where Bond checks into some sort of Fleabag motel sort of low life thing. And his description of the woman behind the counter and her complete lack of enthusiasm or any sense of customer service, I thought was captured brilliantly in this little passage I'll read you. It says, "A faded woman with a screw of orange hair above a face like a sad cream puff raised her head slowly and looked at him through the bars, keeping one finger on her place in true love stories. I thought it was such a lovely piece of writing. It just
and you know that somewhere along the line, Ian Fleming met somebody like that, and he just inserted it into the story.
But the ability to, in the space of a sentence and a half, to have a perfect character, we all know exactly who that person is. You know, I love that kind of writing. So that was sort of my very minor achievements. The one thing I did do is I had a couple of hours between meetings, rushing around, and I popped into one of my favorite sort of charity shops where I'm always finding little gems. And this one is your fault, I think, Mark, because
usually is.
Yeah, under the heading of BookTube made me do it. I found this. This
wow.
is from the 80s. It's to make sure there's no glare. It's the omnibus edition of Eric Ambler, and perhaps I'll read the names out to you if you can't see it.
Yeah, how many are there? It looks like there's quite a few in there.
2, 4, 5, 6. There's 6, and they are The Mask of Demetrios, Journey into Fear, Judgment on Delchev, The Schirmer Inheritance, Passage of Arms, and The Light of Day. This is, anyone who doesn't know this, it's a Heinemann Octopus omnibus series that came out in the 80s, long out of print, but I've been slowly collecting them. I've got the Le Carrés and I've got the Forsyths. I've just found the other day the James Bond one. Is, you know, with all the James
Graham Greene one as well, or?
Yes, I do. Yes, I have a Graham Greene one. I don't know how practical it is, but they pop up in these charity shops and they're dirt cheap. Because I you know, and I can't resist them. There's something very romantic about having the whole lot in one.
They're nice. They're nice to have. I've got like a Louis L'Amour one and one of the James Bond ones and a Mickey Spillane and a couple others. But yeah, they're nice to have them all nice one volume.
Right.
But I think the ones I'm talking were Avenel. That you said that was Octopus, right?
Yeah, this says Heinemann Octopus is what all of the ones I've found say. But that could be regional, Jim. I don't know whether that's because this might have been what was released in this part of the world, or it's probably the same idea, but you know, different branding or something. I don't know.
Nice find.
Yeah, I have to say, Mark made the comment last time. I think given that I normally sort of feel downtrodden because I live at the sort of bottom end of Africa, and this isn't the world's hotspot for books. You know, the reading culture here is not as hot as it is, say, in America or anywhere else. But given that, my charity shops keep doing quite well. You know, it's either SPCA or Hospice. Those are the two organizations here that run charity shops that everybody dumps their books on and everybody else buys them. And they really are.
I would recommend, like thrift shops, we call them thrift shops. I would recommend them highly. I just went yesterday. I got a whole bunch of awesome books. And every time I go in, you just got to hit it at the right time. And as I was there, she had just started putting books on the shelf. And I said, I'll take those. I'll take that one. You know, they're the best way to get. Do you slip
a $5 a week to give you a call before she puts them out on the shelf?
No, I just, you know, she hears my mellifluous voice.
You know what I was
going to say though, it's not your wife though, is it? Because I know she works somewhere like that, so she's not like, you know, hey, honey, get down here.
Oh, she always got me books when she worked there, but she doesn't work at the thrift shop anymore.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
What I do love about it as well is that the prices are really dirt cheap. I mean, if I convert it into dollars, it's just laughable. It's barely $1 for any of these books, you know.
Yeah.
And that I think is very nice because it makes the sort of decision as to whether to buy it or not relatively easy. Honestly, I almost look at these books as a library, and I'm paying $1 to take the book home for a bit, read it, and then probably give it back. You know what I mean? Although looking behind me, I was
going to say your wife is probably hoping that that's the case, Mike. But
absolutely, you're very right there.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah,
yeah. You know, it's different if you're buying a new. I have recently. I've got myself a copy of the Andrew, formerly known as Prince, as I'm calling him, the entitled book, because it just looks
I saw on your short, yeah.
But I mean that you've got to buy new because it's not in the secondhand market yet, and I mean new books are not cheap anywhere, so you know that's very rare for me. Yeah, that
But I do wonder, and maybe this sounds like kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a bit of a flippant comment, but I do wonder how much of the post-apartheid exodus plays a part in the availability of all these books in charity shops. I mean, I'm not saying, of course, the black population don't read those things, but they do seem very much more, perhaps, the type of things that the former,
I do
masters
think
would have read more so.
I think you're right, Mark. The other thing we have here, which is an equivalent of, I suppose, your eBay, is we have a thing called Bob Shop, okay, online, where all the secondhand stores are linked to this one website. And that's fantastic because you can search across and get the best deal. And there, I have to tell you, if you're into Afrikaner, not Afrikaner as in the Dutch-derived language, if you're into the history of Africa, I mean, and you want it's not just those who've left South Africa. You can also see those who come from the old, because there are books like you won't believe. You want biographies of Ian Smith? There's about 50 of them.
I can't imagine they're in so much demand, but honestly, I think he must go down as having the most boring name for a world leader ever, because it's just so generic. He might as well just been John Smith, really, mustn't he? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, look, I mean, it's fascinating. I do actually every now and then score a win through that, because some of these old books are impossible to get other than this route that somebody's dumped them somewhere. But I'm now on a little bit of a mission, because in about a week and a half's time, I get to the point where if I haven't met all these horrendous deadlines, then it's too late. And I'm hoping to start my break, because as I've said a few times, in the South here, obviously, we don't have the sort of mid-year seasonal holidays that you guys in the North have. Ours is all at year end. So this is our big shutdown, take a big holiday vacation time. And I'm planning, touch wood, to be off work for nearly 4 weeks on the trot, which would be fantastic. And if I do that, I've promised myself there's only 2 things I'm going to focus on: reading and resorting what's behind me here, because I want to try and get ahead of the game for next year. I've got lots of ideas about. I feel I haven't come across a lot of South Africans in the booktube community. I know there's some, and again, if I say those that I've found have quite different reading choices from me. Things like horror. I really am not a horror reader.
Like Cliff, I guess. Yeah.
Cliff Start Gems.
Yeah. And I have to say, I do feel that there's a opportunity, if I get into the sort of almost like a starter pack of South African literature. What 10 books should one read? And that's, I've been on a little bit of a mission there, and looking in the charity shops and picking up some of the most. For example, I've picked up your Bryce Courtney Power of One.
Yeah.
Mark, that again.
That was funny that he wrote, he co-authored that other one. That was funny. Yeah. So I see where the confusion came from. That was
every man has his price. Eh?
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So I'm sort of hanging in. We're literally at the 11th hour now, and hopefully by this time next weekend, I'm in a much more booktube compliant or booktube accessible mood. So I'm.
You should do a group read of that, The Power of One. I'd love to read that again. It would give me a good excuse, that actually, because the reason I suggest you, because I'd be curious. Obviously, you're not, you're too young for the time, but the legacy of it and the way it comes across, I just thought it was a great book. I can't remember if I came to it through the film. I might have come to it through the film first, because it was a film. Oh gosh, I think it must have been the early 90s with Stephen Dorff and Morgan Freeman. So two really good South African actors in that one, right? But and I think I'd seen the film, and then years later I came across the book and I read it, and it's just one of those great, Jim, you know what I mean? Those great like 70s, 80s, just epics, big thick book. But you read it in a few days because it's just such a page turner, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Mark, talking about that this morning at the charity shop, I found the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel. Yeah.
because your book's about the kid growing up in South
Yeah.
Africa, and
Yeah.
this is about once he's grown up, what happens next. So
yeah, and I wonder if it's actually round your way because
yes,
I think
it is.
Panda is she's an Indian, isn't she?
Correct. There's
Yeah.
a Durban connection. Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't read it though. So I really should because I loved the first book so much. So yeah,
The challenge is always
consistently in my top 20.
I'm literally busy working whenever I have a spare moment on lists about, which are the books to read. And I mean, there's obviously some that are well known, but I think there's a lot more. But I also want to try and cover the whole period, including what's current now, because again, I feel like a stuck record. But I read Damon Galgut's The Promise.
I've got it, by the way. I do have it.
Good.
Yeah, I got the ebook, but
yeah, to me, it's the best book on South Africa, novel about South Africa I've read since Alan Paton. And again, Alan Paton, everyone knows Cry the Beloved Country, but I actually think his second book, which no one ever talks about, which is called Too Late, the Fallow Rope, I think it's a better book. But anyway, I'm getting a little off Dr. November, so let me throw it back to you, teacher.
Well, I will go through the comments because I've neglected them so far, but there's probably one for Jim here because he's kind of been across both events, I guess. I got distracted, says Skeleton Key Books, by No Vember, and I'm just now getting back to Epitaph for a Spy.
Yeah. No Vember, created by Andrea over at Infinite Text. And I didn't do much for it. I had Dr. November going on and No Vember, but the people, the co-hosts are having a fun time with it. But it's easy to get distracted by it because it is a fun event. It's just for fun. There's nothing too heavy about it. But I didn't get much time.
Was it you or someone else read The Lost World?
I read The Lost World, and Roy did. Oh, excellent book. I love it. And I'd never read it before. And I'm
really?
a huge Arthur Conan Doyle fan, but I hadn't read that before. And I thought
Professor Challenger is like the best character ever. I love him.
Yeah, I mean, next to Sherlock Holmes, I mean, he might even exceed Sherlock Holmes.
I just love the way he's such a bruiser. He's this intelligent, but he's like a thug as well, and he's just funny and
he resembles one of the subhumans, or one of the subhumans resemble him, which is funny.
Yeah, but of course
you could
his
tell
dynamic with Professor Somerville as well. It's like,
oh, that was funny. It was played for laughs. Doyle was having so much fun writing that story. I think,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's a shame he could have done so much more with it. I think the subsequent books are kind of disappointing, really, in light of The Lost World. But I think he could really have done so much more. I'd love to have seen Challenger and Holmes together in something. That would have been great. I suppose
I'm
do it
sure
myself.
I'm sure there's pastiche fiction out there that team them up. I'm sure there is.
Yeah. So, No Vember I was just too committed, of course, because I made this one. I was too committed to it. But I think it's a great idea, though. Great idea. I mean, I'd love to read Jurassic Park again. I enjoyed that years ago.
Yeah, me too. The Lost and the sequel, The Lost World. They called it The Lost World. Yeah, they were two great books, Michael Crichton. I had them. I don't have them anymore, but I really enjoyed them. Much better. I mean, the movies were great, but I mean, the books. Michael Crichton just gets into the details and the technicalities of everything, and that's always fun. Like his book Timeline.
I had great fun with that as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was very lucky when I moved to Japan. Now that was a hard place to get books, but no, it wasn't. But they were quite expensive, to be honest. But I took over this apartment from this Canadian girl, and I guess it had been an apartment where, over the years, everybody who had done the job before her and me had been living there, and they left behind books. But there was just it was all Michael Crichton, John Grisham. It was all stuff. Maybe Anne Wright. It was all stuff that I actually didn't mind. Yeah, and I was quite happy to read. So the first time I sat down and I read, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Timeline. What's the one about the? Not Andromeda Strain. What is it? No.
There's the Andromeda Strain. There's Congo.
Congo. Yeah.
Pirate Latitudes. Like a pirates. The pirate one was awesome. I got that up on my shelf. But I'm not sure the one specifically you're talking about.
But there were, I mean, that kind of got me into them. So
Coma.
No, I don't know. I think it might have been Andromeda strain. I don't know. It was about some pathogen or some outbreak or something or other. But no, just great fun. Libra Paradiso's here, says happy Saturday. Duncan's here. Hello everyone.
Hey Duncan.
Nice.
Hi.
Duncan says Fleming is best when he's complaining about trivial things. I remember Diatribe Against Tea and finding American hard-boiled eggs strange because they were peeled.
The good thing about Fleming's writing is it almost like it's first person, even though it's told in third person, but you get so much into Bond's head. It's just it reads almost like a first person narrative. And this is all Fleming's impressions of things, about food that he's eaten or customer service that he's had to deal with. And that's what I love about Fleming. It's all heavily researched, and he just throws it all into the pot and stirs it up. He's so good.
Well, I recommend, because obviously you are lucky in Canada. I don't know if the rules are the same in South Africa as Canada, but they had a 50-year copyright rule. So if you know the Delphi ebook editions, there is a Delphi complete works of Ian Fleming, because he died in the 50 years time that they meant that all his works in Canada are in the public domain, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I was able to get hold of a copy, but in the Delphi Canadian version, they have, of course, all the James Bond and everything he wrote. And there's a wonderful collection of essays, really, called Thrilling Cities, which is his travel writing. Yeah. And brilliant, great fun.
Yeah. I've got a paperback. See if you can find the Diamond Smugglers as well. Talking about South Africa. I think it's a diamond mining in South Africa. I believe it's been a while, but I've got that. I should get it off my shelf and show you. Yeah, give me a second. I know right where it is. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a good thing if Mike was there and you're going, I know just where it is, and we just see these piles of books.
As I always say to my wife, Mark, I know exactly where every book is.
I do get that. I do get that, because sometimes it looks chaos to other people, but you're like, you know exactly where that thing is. Yeah.
So there's the Diamond Smugglers.
Uh-huh.
And this
that looks exactly the same sort of edition as the book I was reading.
It is, I think.
Diamonds Are Forever. It's the old pan edition with the yellow.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same. Wow. Yeah.
And I do believe it's like South African diamond. Like it's like the mafia down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And of course,
it says true story, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I've got Thrilling Cities there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Brilliant.
Good stuff.
Brilliant. Helen says, "Face like a cream puff." Hi, everyone. I guess these are the all-in-one books you were talking about, Mike. I have one of the John le Carré and another of Vidal. Nancy says, finished reading Casino Royale and started Slow Horses. Libra Paradiso said it's more age. I think it's more age. Locally used bookstores get huge collections from estates. It is common for me to see at shops beneficiaries selling their deceased parents' books.
It's funny. You'll get a whole series of a particular series or author, and you know that they've gotten rid of somebody's books who've died or something like that. Yeah. And that's when you got to get there and to pick them up.
Yeah.
Helen says, "Jim, are you still feeling slumpy?" I'm slowly emerging from a slump.
A little bit. Yeah. I had a video about that. Yeah, but I didn't do a lot of reading, Helen, and I'm still coming out of it. But this December, I kind of like Steve Donahue is doing Deadly December, where he's just reading mysteries all month long. So I expect that to kind of get me out of the slump. I'm going to join him in that and just read. I've got tons of mysteries on my shelf. I picked up some Minion G. Eberhardt. So I got a bunch of Agatha Christie, Rex Stout, and I'm going to delve into that come December, and hopefully that'll take me out of my slump. But thank
Well,
you for
hopefully it's
asking.
more successful for him than Dr. November. I haven't seen hide or hair of him since his announcement video. So
No,
Yeah,
maybe
you've had a few. You've had a few people who haven't managed to keep up. But can I just say, I thoroughly enjoyed Jim. Jim did a video, I think, this last week on the pastiche novels of James Bond. That was amazing.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And perfect for Dr. November. I mean, I actually didn't know that there were anything like that. I remember in my charity shop, I found the William Boyd one called Solo, and I thought, hey, a James Bond pastiche novel. So I grabbed it, and meanwhile, Jim's telling us that there's hundreds.
Yeah, you asked me about that, I honestly don't recall. It's probably not one of the best, but it might be worth a read. But there's got to be at least 50. Like, I haven't actually counted, but at last count in the early 2000s, there was over 40 of them, and there's still Glid or Ian Fleming Publications is still having writers write the Bond novels, so they're still cranking them out. And of course, there's unauthorized ones too. Like I have, like in Canada, where the copyright's expired, I have a book of short stories of James Bond stories. So there's all kinds out there, all kinds, and they vary.
I guess if we're doing it again next year, but of course, Holmes is where the heart is another thing that lends itself to a huge amount of pastiche, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah, and I love a lot of that Holmes pastiche. It just because you've got. I forget the 54 stories or whatever, however many there is, always forget, but it's never enough. And I've read and reread those, but you just want to read more. Yeah. And that's where the pastiche comes in.
Well, there's a nice link, actually. I don't know if you caught, I think it was the first or second line, probably the second one. We were talking about Graham Greene's Quiet American. And of course, there's a nice link because that book, I think you've got it as well. Is it The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes by Hugh Green?
Yes. Yeah.
That's Graham Greene's brother, right? So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they actually published a book together. They edited a book together, I think, on Spy Stories or something. I don't know. I can't remember. I came across it the other day. I was like, oh, that looks great. So
that's cool. I love that stuff.
Can I ask a question to you two who are clearly well ahead of me on Sherlock Holmes reading? I've got a book called The Complete Sherlock Holmes, and I'm struggling to know whether it is or isn't. How is Sherlock Holmes's sort of canon split up? Are there lots of novels and lots of short stories, or what's the deal?
There's 4 or 5 collections of short stories. Okay. 4 novels, and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, The Return of Sherlock. I should know this shit, but honestly, my memory's so short.
50 short stories, is it?
What's that?
52 short stories?
Yeah. So 52? The Hound of the Baskerville is a short story, is it?
No, it's one of the novels.
It's one of the
4 novels. And
56.
56
short stories, 4 novels.
And 4 novels. So the book you have, Mike, probably has everything in it because it's been reprinted in huge volumes, the complete canon.
Yeah, it's a strange book because it's a large format A4, and the print is relatively small, so you get sort of 4 columns of print in one page, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and it's quite big. And I picked it up for a song somewhere, and I thought, well, that's great. One needs to have it. Yeah, that looks. How thick is that book, Mark? Okay, that looks. Yeah, I suppose that just looks more substantial in terms of.
Well, word. I mean, mine is. It's not in columns. Okay. It is done as.
Okay. All right.
Text, but it's got all of them in there. So.
Okay. Yeah. So probably you have them all in there, Mike.
Okay, that's good.
My favorite way to read them, I have. There was 2 paperbacks where they collected the complete volumes. I think was Bantam, and that's I just like reading it in that paperback version.
Yeah.
Although I have tons of different versions of the canon. Yeah. But those big books that Mark just had, I mean, it's tough to read them.
I don't read them. I have the paperbacks. Somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that one right behind your head, Jim? I have to ask. That blue and yellow thing behind you on the very
Oh.
top shelf? I'm just
Oh,
curious.
right here.
Yeah.
That's Batman. It's a reprint of the first Batman comic, and then it's got the figure, big Batman figure from 1938.
Because
And
yeah, that's what the black stripe is. Is it the Batman symbol in the middle?
Yeah.
So where was I in the thing here? So Skeleton Key books. I've read only one Ian Fleming book. I picked Casino Royale for a road trip. I-70 across Kansas is boring enough without an entire disc of playing Baccarat. I suppose it's not the most exciting one, is it really?
Casino Royale is not one of my favorites.
No.
Where would you rank Diamonds Are Forever in Jim, in terms of your?
Well,
if that's the one I've read,
it's not one of the best, but it's not one of the worst.
Okay,
if that tells you anything.
Diamonds
Are Forever.
What would you recommend to read following it?
See,
From Russia with Love.
Yeah, From Russia with Love's my favorite, and Dr. No is much more pulpy than From Russia with Love delves into the kind of Cold War stuff, and it talks a lot about Russia and that kind of the KGB, but I think it was called the NKV or something like that. It delves a lot into that, like true stuff. It's Fleming, so he's researched this. So that's fascinating. And Bond doesn't appear until after the first third of the book is done. But then Dr. No is hold on, my wife's bringing me a coffee. Hold on. Yeah, thank you. Irish maple. Oh, it's got a little of the good stuff in it.
Oh, that's what you need to warm me up on a cold winter's afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. And then Dr. No is much more pulpy. It reads more like a Mike Hammer novel.
Oh, right.
It's a little bit more action oriented, and great stuff. And Diamonds Are Forever was probably the first one I read, and I did enjoy that. And there's some well drawn characters in there.
Yeah.
But I would recommend From Russia with Love. And you know what? On Her Majesty's Secret Service was a good book too. Not that there was any bad ones, like Mark, you've read them all, right?
No, I haven't actually. I've probably read. What have I read? I've read Casino Royale. I've read From Russia with Love. I've read what's the one in New Orleans or Harlem?
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
And Thunderball, maybe? I don't remember.
Each of them have something to recommend.
For Your Eyes Only, I read this time around as a short story, which I actually really enjoyed, I have to say. I thought it was kind of good fun and quite not what I expected, actually.
People who are expecting it like the movies are in for a rude awakening. Right?
Well, because you when you're talking there about when we're talking about From Russia with Love, it reminds me of in this when Kingsley Amis talks about spying, and he says pretty much From Russia with Love is the only James Bond book that actually has spying in it, because of the communications. Everything else is secret agent stuff or crime stuff.
He's more of a counter spy than he is a spy, James Bond.
Exactly. There you go. He's almost counterintelligence.
But
but you've got the wrong department, really.
You've got the Lecter machine in From Russia with Love. And, and it's my favorite. It's such a great book.
Okay,
because
so far it's the only one in the Green Penguins in the new print out.
Really? Is that one of the edited, one of the censored versions?
I don't know. And I don't know how I would find out because I haven't got. I guess I could look in the Delphi, but
I don't think so. My wife has sabotaged me here because she's got all this creamy whipped cream, and I'm going to take a drink.
Yeah, that's it there in the quite a dull cover in some ways, but also kind of a simple. I don't know.
I like that cover.
But I don't know. You haven't got yours to hand, have you?
Mine?
Well, I suppose we wouldn't know what would be a dodgy bit or not.
Hold on. I got a couple actually.
All right. Yeah, because of course, Mike, they went through and sanitized some of them.
Yeah.
So.
I have to say, when I saw that this version of Diamonds Are Forever is as old as me, the first thought I had was, "Oh, good, it won't have been sanitized. It'll be the real thing."
There's one of the pan ones.
Oh, that's
right.
nice.
Yeah, it's a nice cover. I like these covers.
Yeah.
And here you've got one of the American Signet covers,
Yeah.
which I'm not a big fan of because the artwork's so small.
Yeah.
And then I've got a hardcover in the other room and a couple of different versions.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I would be surprised because, to be honest, I think from when I was reading something, the sanitized versions, they tell you, and you can still buy both. So it doesn't. It just seems like it's the reader's choice now. It's not like because when I was looking on some site, it said new version or something like this, and I thought, well, that's all right, or original version, even though it was printed, a couple of years ago. And I think I guess that's fair enough, really.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just when things are no longer available, I always get grumpy.
Well, it's to be honest, I mean, it's pointless, isn't it? Because the they're so widely available. Otherwise, you can't erase them. But
also, to me, when you read, I think it's true of almost any work of art. But if you read something, I think you should read it in the context of what it is and was historically. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, I love, for example, people who take Shakespeare and do it in modern dress. That's great. By all means, rework it. And as you've been saying earlier, do your pastiche novels, go for it. But let the original be accessible. That's the thing I get uncomfortable when.
Yeah, there might be things in there people don't like, but that was the era that they were written in.
I mean, the same is true. You've got Huckleberry Finn. To me, if you don't read the thing Mark Twain wrote, you're not actually getting the experience of a Mark Twain novel. That's what worries me with that thing. I'm also, I know I said to Mark before, but having grown up in South Africa through what that country went through with censorship and managing what one was allowed to see and do, I have a passionate loathing of any form of censorship whatsoever. I'll make a concession to sort of age appropriate stuff, but other than that, I just can't stand it, to be honest.
I just noticed, I hadn't seen this before. I don't know if you can see, of course, on the front cover here, this part is gobbledygook until it gets down to like From Russia with Love.
Well,
and then
that's what the lector machine did.
Well, yeah, right. And it goes to gobbledygook again. But what they've done is on the back page is they've given you the actual decoded version, which is completely readable. Isn't that cool? I'd never noticed it. I never looked through that far and I like that. That's funny.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I better get back to the comments. Sorry.
And of course, the movie From Russia with Love was one of the better ones too.
It was, yeah. Rosa Clare.
I was going to say, before we move off Fleming and biographies, Jim, you're obviously knowledgeable. I picked this biography up, Andrew Lycett. I'm curious as to, are there better ones? Is this a good one?
The only one I've read is the John Pearson biography. Okay. So I'm not too sure, but new things have come to light in his life since the Pearson biography. So you want to get a current biography so that stuff is in the book. Right. So when was that one? When was that printed, Mike? That one?
I'll tell you now. 1995. No. Well, originally 1995. This copy 2008.
Okay, so that might be updated, but I think probably the one you want to get is the Shakespeare volume.
Yeah, that's
Nicholas Shakespeare would have all the updated info about Ian Fleming's life. He still led a fascinating life, and the John Pearson biography was excellent. But there was a lot of stuff about his personal life
Yeah.
His relationship with his wife that wasn't part of the Pearson biography, and
Okay.
probably is in the Shakespeare biography. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't get that far. I need to reread it, or I need to actually read it from all the way through. But I got so, what's the word, overwhelmed last year, and I got it late as well. And I think I read only the first 100 pages, but from what I read, it was great, and I'm definitely going to read it.
I want to pick it up.
But the nice thing is, the Nicholas Shakespeare, he actually wrote the foreword or introduction to Ashenden. So if you got the vintage Ashenden collection, he actually writes the intro to that, which is good. So,
that's cool.
Mark, I distracted you from the questions. I don't know if you want to go back to the questions.
Yes, all right. Where are we? Monica Bellucci is a mystery to me, so I think I'll watch her films in December.
And she was in the last Daniel Craig Bond movie, I think, or the one before that. She should have been the main woman, I should say, instead of the one they had. But that's just me.
I mean, not to be ageist though, but she's getting on though. But so's Bond, I suppose. Yeah, that's true. So's Bond. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Sorry, I'm probably cancelled now. Tomorrow I'll be joining Randy and James to discuss my favorite film, Western, The Big Country. Well, that's a good choice. Very good choice. Lou's here. Hello, good people.
Hi, Lou.
And Jim.
Well, I figured you guys were upset with me because I haven't been on here for a while.
No, come on. You made a few videos. You've done more than at least another person than I shan't mention. So, but it doesn't matter. But of course, I'm only joking. I know people have lives and, who knows what comes up. But I liked Solo. I'm already a fan of William Boyd, though. The Sebastian Faulks Bond novel was terrible. Yeah, I mean, I used to really like William Boyd. And then the last one I read of his, when it was new, I think was Any Human Heart. And after that, I never picked him up again. And I read all his, Good Man in Africa, The Ice Cream War, which is great, fun about Brazzaville Beach, all that stuff. Yeah, he's someone you don't see mentioned a lot, like those older things on BookTube, and he was great. Sorry.
I'm curious what Duncan thought of the Anthony Horowitz novel. The only one I have is Trigger Mortis, but he's the author that they decided to carry on. I think he did 2 or 3 more Bond novels after the one he did. But I like Horowitz.
Isn't there a guy? I've forgotten his name. He's a comedian. He did the Fast Show in the UK. Charlie Higson.
Charlie Higson did the
Young Bond. Is it
excellent?
Yeah.
I loved them. I thought they were great. Yeah. But he's a comedian, eh? Go figure.
Yeah. He's in this kind of sketch show thing in the 90s, called The Fast Show. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Where are we? 56 short stories. I did like Faulk's Birdsong. Yeah, Birdsong's great. 2-volume edition was my textbook for a graduate level chemistry course on Holmesian investigative methods. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Nice.
The other textbook was the Professor's Work in Progress, The Scientific Sherlock Holmes. I think it won an Edgar. Oh, wow. Modesty Blaze, the comic strips and books spoiled me for spy thrillers. Peter O'Donnell's writing doesn't waste a scene. His words are pregnant with flirty action and delightful expectation. What a lovely turn of phrase there, Libra Parodies.
Yeah, indeed.
And the enigmatic relationship between Modesty and her partner, Willie Gavin, is beautifully explored in the strips and novels. Yeah,
I have one of Peter O'Donnell's Modesty Blaze novels. I haven't read it yet. I've had it for years. One of those books just sits on your shelf. You never get around to it.
Well, before we come to you, Jim, just very briefly, I will say what I have been reading rather than read. Before tomorrow. When is the last day of the month? Tomorrow?
Monday?
Yeah.
Monday.
Tomorrow is the last. So before tomorrow, I need to finish the James Bond dossier.
Nice.
I need to finish London Match, but I've only got 5 chapters left of that. And I need to finish Woman of No Importance, of which I have, well, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 chapters left of that. But I might get there. But that, I tell you, these are great, really great. I almost couldn't make it to the live today because I was reading this and I was like, I can't put it down.
Yeah.
So, Jim.
I was like that with this SSGB. I love this book. It was probably my favorite book of the year. Was this one? Yeah, and it's a thick one. So, but I tore through it and I loved it. And yeah, it's very reminiscent of The Man in the High Castle. You know, this is like an alternate history where the Nazis won this, the Battle of Britain. You know, they've occupied Britain, and it's such a good book. I mean, I've found a newfound respect for Len Dayton after reading that one. Right. And I did read, I have read his Game, Set, and Match trilogy. I have that behind me here. Great series of books. That's a nice cover. That's nice.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were saying, Mark, Len Dayton's been a bit of an experience for you in this Dr. November.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nice so far, because last year the revelation was Eric Ambler. This year it's been Len Dayton. But I mean, to be fair, I actually started and finished Berlin Game before Dr. November, although I'm counting it in my Dr. November reads. And a couple of the nonfiction I'd read back in September as well. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd read A Funeral in Berlin, maybe The Ipcris File, and then possibly something else years ago, like years and years ago, but not from the Bernie Sampson books. And I remember thinking, yeah, it's okay. You know, didn't blow my mind, but maybe because I'm older, maybe this series is better than the Harry Palmer series. I don't know. But I just and of course, reading his nonfiction as well, I just think he's a great writer. He really puts you in there. The little, like, the conversations. I don't know. It's so ordinary. So much of the book, like with the Berlin Game, Set, and Match, all this stuff. Yeah. So often nothing really happens, but it still draws you in. I can't explain it. It's like a lot of domestic problems. He has to deal with issues with his sister-in-law who's cheating on her husband, and he's brought in to kind of help out with some, there's all sorts of stuff going on. It's not all just doom and gloom and espionage. His relationship between him and his bosses is hysterical. The way he kind of just always talks back to them. Half the time they don't even notice. And, but there's also great action scenes, cars getting blown up, people being gunned down in laundrettes, and, all this kind of stuff happening, double agents, triple agents, whatever. It's very, very good. Very, very good.
It seems to have its foot set more in the real world than the Bond novels do.
Definitely.
I followed it up. I'm still reading this one, but this one here didn't particularly grab me. I'm still, I haven't gotten far in though. So
it's a standalone, isn't it?
It's a standalone. Yeah.
So, have you read XPD? I think it's called.
No, you brought that up before, and I haven't.
No, I want to.
You thought it might be a sequel to SSGB.
I heard of. Well, no, it was my own brain making that assumption, because there's a picture on one cover of Hitler and Churchill maybe shaking hands. I can't remember. And then when you go into it, it's I can tell you actually, XBD Len Dayton. It's about something. What is the synopsis? It concerns a plan by a group of former SS officers to seize power in West Germany, in which they intend to publish wartime documents about a fictional secret meeting between Churchill and Hitler in June 1940, and the efforts of a British agent, Boyd Stewart, to prevent the documents becoming public. The title is the code used by the SIS in the novel to refer to assassinations it carries out, short for expedient demise. So, yeah.
That sounds interesting. I'm gonna have to. I picked up a bunch of Len Daytons at the thrift store a while back, and I didn't get that one. But Churchill famously gets hung in SSGB. They didn't have the scene. Like, basically, it's right. It's not a spoiler. It's right in the front of the book. Basically, when they occupy Britain, they execute Winston Churchill.
Wow.
So yeah.
I do enjoy a good alternate history, though, because one of the few. I mean, it's pathetic in comparisons with yours, Jim, and yours, Mike. The the big volumes of works. I've got one volume with 2 novels in it by Robert Harris, and of course one of them is Fatherland, which I read years ago. I remember I was probably 14 and I was on holiday in Portugal, and I had it by the pool and I just devoured it, and I haven't read it since. And when I saw it combined with Enigma, and that's another great alternate World War II history book.
I heard that somebody in my comment field mentioned that book, and I've never read it.
You've never read it?
No.
Oh, yeah, you need to, Jim. You'll really enjoy it. Robert, have you read any Robert Harris?
I read. Is he the guy who did the Ghost Rider or the?
He did, but that probably isn't the one to judge him on. Maybe
I read that one, and it wasn't the greatest, so it didn't grab me.
Yeah. But no, his Fatherland is good. He's got one called An Officer and a Spy, which is all based on the Dreyfus affair in France. And that's
cool.
That was unputdownable too. And of course, he does all sorts of different ones. So there's Munich. He did Conclave, which of course was a film that won loads of Oscars in the last Oscar thing about the electing the new Pope.
Is Munich the one that they made into a film with Jeremy Irons as Neville Chamberlain?
Yeah.
I haven't read the book, but I saw the film, and that was incredibly good, a gripping story.
Yeah, it's always a bit embarrassing for me living here, of course, because it led to the demise of Czechoslovakia. But
I can also I can empathize on how responsible are we all for what went before.
Yeah. It can be embarrassing at times, especially when they have their Memorial Days in their veteran, what do you call it, like Memorial Day, Remembrance Day, whatever, and it usually comes up in the after the tragedy and betrayal of Munich, this and this happens, and I'm standing there like looking at the ground, It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it upsets them because it's one of those interesting, again, what ifs of history, because the Czechs would not have been a pushover for the Germans in 1937 because it was the only democracy and a highly mechanized army, much more probably advanced even than the German army in 1937 anyway. And they had an idea, or they had the possibility of drawing up plans with France that if Germany got too uppity and if Czechoslovakia were to attack Germany, or Germany attacked Czechoslovakia, but I think the idea was that actually the Czechs would do a preemptive strike, then the French would invade from the west anyway, and in that time probably Germany would have been defeated, and the war may not have happened. So
this was in what year was this? 38, 39?
Well, 38 was Munich, so I think they were thinking around 37, 38. Yeah. Okay. And even if the Germans invaded here, I think, of course, the longer it went on, they might have got better at it, but they would have got a bloody nose, because all around here, because I'm in the part of Czechoslovakia near Sudetenland, which of course was ceded to Germany. I'm about 5 kilometers from Poland, which at the time was East Prussia, so it was part of Germany. So all through the hills here, because I'm in a mountain area, and the country is almost surrounded by mountains anyway. But all along the border are these big bunkers, and there's a whole network of them. And with Munich, they handed that over to the Germans. So they handed over their defenses because, they were betrayed in terms of like what Britain and France decided to do. So they didn't have any defenses when it came to the Germans annexing the rest of Bohemia. So, and I think there's some percentage, like, I don't know, 40% or 60% or something of the mechanized units used in the invasion of France were Czech armaments. Yeah. Because there's a massive, the Czechs have long had a big armaments, tradition. The Bren gun is Czech because it's Brno Enfield, and Brno, of course, being the second city here. The Semtex, the plastic explosives, they're Czech as well. The factory is about 50 kilometers down the road. Yeah,
oh boy, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's an alternative history waiting to be written there, Mark.
Well, it could be. I mean, I'll tell you, it's fascinating, really. I mean, it was in the top 10 world economies in the 1930s, Czechoslovakia, a tiny country that had only existed since 1918. And they were able to get themselves in the top 10 of economies. And then, of course, the war happens and they get sucked into the whole communist thing. I mean, they were really upset because I think they felt they're further west mostly. Prague is further west than Vienna, so they didn't think they should necessarily come under Russia's umbrella in the way that if they could, why couldn't Austria?
It's a common theme that gets a bit repeated.
Still to this day, I mean, God, it just shows you the delicate balance that everything just hangs in.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's an interesting country and it has an interesting history for sure.
Yeah.
Where are we? Do have a couple of comments. I haven't read, Duncan says, any of Horowitz Bond novels. I just can't get past the fact that he's a massive pillock. What, Horowitz or Bond?
I'm assuming he was Horowitz. I didn't know that, but good to know. Good to know moving forward.
I'd love to see a brief history of the Czech Republic on your channel, Mark. Thanks,
Gary.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty brief. The Czech Republic's only existed since 1993, so wouldn't
What about the starter pack of what to read about the Czech Republic?
Well, that's tricky because I don't actually get on well with a lot of them. I did a video the other day about Bohumil Hrabal and it being the most disturbing book I've never read. And every time I pick up a Hrabal, there's like horrific animal torture or something. So I do tend to stay away from these kind of things. But I think often movies, the Czechs do have a good line in films, often based on books. So I mean, the Hrabal book, Closely Observed Trains, of course, is a well-known, I think, Oscar-winning film as well. And then, of course, ones that you don't think about, like if you remember the 1982, 3, 4 production of Amadeus.
Oh yes,
yeah. The director is Czech, Miloš Forman, and he filmed it in Prague. He was able to get permission and stuff to film it in Prague, even under communism, and even some of his early films that he did during the what they call the Prague Spring, when they kind of thawed their hardline communism for a bit. Some of those films in Czech are great. They're funny and real windows into the kind of whimsical nature of life, especially in villages like the one I live in. So.
And the Czechs make good beer.
And they make good beer. Yeah.
Yes. I think what was the last year? I think I bought some Czech beer and I shared the picture with you, and they're still great beer. I still pick them up.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Yeah. No, I mean it's an interesting place for a small country. Definitely, it has in the past. Yes, he did One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did quite a few things. Good old Miloš Forman. And I think a couple of others are Czechoslovakian at least. What's his name? Is it Reitman? Ivan Reitman? No, Robert. Oh. What's his name? The producer, or was it Ivan Reitman?
Ivan Reitman. Ivan Reitman's a whole different story. But Ivan Reitman, possibly, who did.
Yeah, he's Canadian film director. He's Czechoslovakian too. He was born in Slovakia.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And then what a lot of people don't realize as well. Sorry, I know this is completely off topic, but like today, if you saw the news, Tom Stoppard died, the playwright.
Oh, okay.
And he's also Czech, which you wouldn't guess from a name like Tom Stoppard. Yeah. Well, his story is quite interesting because he was born here. His father, he was born to a Jewish family here, and his father worked for the shoe company Batya, if you know them, quite well known, and to help them, with obviously the coming issues that Jews were going to face, he sent a lot of his Jewish employees off to work in other areas of his company in different countries. So he sent Tom Stoppard's family off to, I think, Singapore, maybe.
We have a Bata museum here in Toronto. BATA, right?
Yeah.
There's
he's
a museum.
He's from here.
Yeah.
And they were sent there, and then I think Stoppard's father died, and his mother ended up marrying a British soldier and moving to India. And the British soldier adopted, the kids, so that's why they have the name Stoppard. But his original name, what is his original name? Yeah, Thomas Straussler is his real name. But yeah, he.
Now, do you find, because you're in the Czech Republic, that's what gives you the interest in all this stuff, or would you be interested in that regardless?
Oh yeah, no,
it's
made me more interested for sure. I mean, I was always interested in the Middle Europe history because the Habsburgs and things like that. It's kind of, it's one of those things I think which are quite undertaught. Like nobody, everyone talks about like the First World War, and they talk about like, the Somme and the Western Front and maybe even Gallipoli and that kind of stuff. Almost no one talks about the Eastern Front, and if they do, it's always Russia against Germany. It's not actually the Austrians, which of course includes the Czechs and stuff with the Austrians, who caused the war anyway. Basically, the Austrians declaring war on Serbia is what led to it all, and they kind of get forgotten in everybody's mind. So that kind of stuff always interested me. But yeah, finding out about Czechs and kind of like their secret impact on things, even like Karate Kid, Johnny Lawrence is Czech, right? William Zabka, he's Czech too in ancestry. So they're everywhere. You don't really appreciate actually just where they are. But so of course, and well, we've only got to look at Donald Trump. I mean, 3 of his kids are half Czech, right? Yeah. So
I'd rather not look at
Donald Trump. I don't know if that gives us any special but Duncan says Jan Svankmajer is a great Czech director. He's made some creepy movies. Tom Stoppard co-wrote the script of Terry Gilliam's masterpiece Brazil.
Oh wow!
He did quite a lot, Tom Stoppard. Jan Svankmajer is hugely important in the history of animation.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't. He did quite a few film and television adaptations. He did 3 Men in a Boat, of course, for BBC Television.
Well, then he could go wrong, Mark.
Yeah. Well, he did also Empire of the Sun, which is one of my favorite, another one of my favorite films by. So he did Empire of the Sun. He did the Russia House. He did Indiana. He did Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Rosencrantz, Guildenstern are Dead. Shakespeare in Love. Enigma, the film version of the Robert Harris novel. Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. The Golden Compass, Parade's End, Anna Karenina are some of the films he worked on as a writer. So quite a few well-known ones.
Yeah,
and of course Russia House fits in with Dr. No Vember to bring us back on track.
Great credentials, yeah.
So what about you then, Jim? Sorry, kind of deviated a little bit there.
So I did a couple of like quick reads, like Men's Adventure, kind of Matt Helm novel. This one wasn't the greatest. I think it's one of the later ones. Kind of was a bit of a slog. And I did this one, read this, Assignment Star Stealers by Edward S. Aarons, and it was okay. But again, that was number 30 in the series, so I think he was a little tired of it by then. It wasn't the greatest. And this one here, speaking of unauthorized James Bond license expired, this is a Canadian publication with short stories in it. Not the greatest, not the greatest stories. It was okay, but they definitely had an agenda, and we'll just leave it at that in that book. But that's pretty much, I've been reading short stories here and there, but nothing I need to mention here. But not a heck of a lot of reading this last month. Oh, on The Lost World, we talked about that earlier. There's Elvis.
The Lost World.
One of my big regrets is that all the booktubers I've met who have dogs have small or controllable dogs. My dog is a Rottweiler, and she's absolutely beautiful. But the thought of trying to get her to come and cooperate in any sense on camera, the only time I've managed to is on the video I did for Vanity Fair. If you watch that, I've got footage of her and me at the beginning of that. But I mean, I think this booktube dog thing is lovely. I really do. I see it all over the place. When I first saw Shelley Swearingen's little dog, which is an exact copy of Steve's little dog, I wrote in the comments that Steve Donahue wants his dog back. So, but I'm glad to see Elvis. Elvis is charming.
And your dog is it's a family pet, or it's more for security? Because I know in South Africa people tend to have.
Look, the secret to Rottweilers is everyone on the outside of the circle thinks they're scary, and on the inside of the circle they're teddy bears.
The big softies.
They're absolute softies. And Layla, she's called Layla after the Eric Clapton song because it's my musical bit. But she's an absolute sweetheart. I love her to bits.
You know, like with any animal, it's down to the way you bring that animal up. You know, I mean, you can get a little tiny teddy bear of a dog, and if you mistreat it, it's going to be mean, and it's going to bite people.
Well, I got Layla at the Animal Rescue SPCA, and she's obviously had a very tough start in life because she's quite sort of, you know, if a loud bang goes off, she doesn't like that at all. But in a funny way, it sort of works quite well because my personality is better suited to a softy dog than to something that's too ferocious.
Yeah,
but she's brilliant. You know, when she runs at the gate and barks, boy, everybody moves.
Is she there with you? Is she there with you now, Mike?
No, she's not.
No,
she's got her own little agenda. I've tried so many times when I'm filming my videos to just try and sneak her in, but it hasn't succeeded yet. I actually, because I sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say he's not very camera friendly. I mean, I named the channel after him, expecting to be like a kind of Steve situation where usually he's playing around, but every time I put the camera on him, he runs away. Except this time he's more like on the spare bed here. And
that's the funny thing with him, Mark.
He's just hanging out.
Every time you're walking with him and you point the camera at him, he's pointed away.
Look, he just kind of goes, looks away. all the time. So you know, but someone here almost adopted a Pitweiler. He was such a sweetheart. I guess it's a pit bull Rottweiler mix, I'm guessing. But you're right, though, Mike. I mean, we had family friends, and they had Rhodesian Ridgeback, which is a huge dog. I think they're lion killers, actually. Like Rhodesian farmers had them, and again, huge softy. Like when he knew you and stuff, huge softy. But then
Jim's right. It's about how they've been raised and how they've been conditioned.
Yeah. My sister had 3 Rottweilers, and I remember when my kids were little, and they came over to stay. They set up a trailer in our backyard, and they had the dogs, and the dogs were huge, and they weren't mean-spirited at all, but they'd play with the kids, and they would get rough playing. So they would we had to keep the kids away from them, not because they were mean, just because they were very exuberant. You know, but they were beautiful dogs.
They are lovely dogs.
Yeah.
You've woken up. Now, if I put you on the camera, you're going to run away?
What are you doing? Beautiful looking dog, Mark. Elvis. Really is. Yeah. What breed is that, Mark?
He's a border collie, although no one ever believes it. So.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah, he's one of 6 in his litter. 3 of them are classic border collie, black and white. You know, exactly as they should be. The other 3, and don't know what happened. He was the runt of the litter as well, so he's undersized still, even today. And I think, you know, don't tell him, but I think he's got a little bit of special needs, bless him.
I've got a cat.
You know, we get on well.
Needs.
Sorry?
I said I have a cat at home that has special needs.
Adolf.
A little challenged.
Adolf? No, Poe.
Poe, yes.
Because Adolf, sorry.
I would have called him Adolf. Just saying.
Well, I don't know if you saw in the news. Was it this week? I was reading the headline. It said Adolf Hitler wins his 5th election or something.
Oh, yes, somewhere in Africa. Where is
it? He's Namibia.
Namibia, that's right.
Namibian politician, black fella called Adolf Hitler. Yeah. Oh dear.
Apparently when I was born, my mom and dad had a border collie, and it was my protector when I was a little baby. It would just sit by the carriage and it would not let anybody near. Very loyal dogs, apparently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, they say
yeah.
that about the Rottweiler is that they learn very quickly who's inside the circle and who's outside the circle, and that's the difference. And it's the perfect recipe for if you want pets and security. It's the absolute perfect.
Well, Elvis is a bit of a fraidy cat though, because earlier I was lying on the bed because I've kind of turned it into my version of Steve's fainting couch because it's technically the spare room, this one, right? So it's kind of my office and everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like to lie on the bed like it's a chaise lounge or whatever and read. And I was doing so today, and at the moment we got snow around, and the snow slid off the roof, and he just jumped on the bed and literally, I don't know if you can see here, literally moved up behind me, like to hide. And I thought, like, what? It should be the other way around. Should be defending me. So
it's unexpected noises trigger Layla. Yeah.
Like well, at least you know now that you can't count on him in an emergency.
Well, that's it. Yeah, he does get very scared, bless him, of the fireworks, though. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Fireworks, yeah.
That's an awful thing. These fireworks now, and they go off all the time, all year long now, for every freaking event. I don't know.
I'm actually trying to work out because Guy Fawkes Day, which was recently, 5th of November, right? Yeah, that's always been an excuse in this country to let off all kinds of fireworks. And this year, for some reason, we didn't hear a single one. And I still haven't been able to work out why, because there's been no legislation change or anything like that.
Well, council here now is trying to, stop all these fireworks that are going on every month for something or other. But yeah, I guess it comes down to legislation.
Now, if people are allowed to change the rules of what's allowed to be shown in old copies of books, they can change the rules about fireworks too.
Yeah, the poor animals, man, they're just scared to death, eh?
Especially the wild ones, though. I mean, can you imagine how terrifying it is for the deer and the animals out in the forests who just
to what benefit? I mean,
I don't know. Because they can do it without the bangs. I mean, they have now these light shows, these drone shows, whatever.
100%. Yeah.
It is very, very selfish. And to be honest, I thought living here would be a bit better. But last year it was like, the Blitz, to be honest. It was unbelievable. Because they do it coordinated almost. So instead of like everybody setting it off at midnight, this house goes at that time. Because I did a live. And a friend of mine was saying, I remember your live during New Year's last year. And it lasted almost an hour. The banging around, So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to have to... Sorry, Mike. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to have to stop the live probably, and then we'll continue a little bit in the green room. Just want to finish off the comments. I adopted a pit bull in 2021. She's the sweetest, smartest, goofiest girl. And then Helen says, "Fancy naming your child Adolf Hitler." I saw that story online. Totally bizarre.
Yeah, it is. What is in your head? Name your kid Adolf Hitler, man.
So, my huge thanks to everybody who took part in Dr. November. My big thanks, of course, to my co-hosts and to you, the audience, and to those of you who read stuff and contributed and commented and everything. And even if you didn't read anything, but you just enjoyed watching the lives, it was great to have you along. And I hope that if you didn't join in, you might consider joining in next year, because I'll probably continue it because, it's been 3 years and it's been quite good fun. So I will do that. I guess you can see these gents. I don't know, any other events coming up for you guys that you want to let people know about that you're taking part in the next?
Not so far. I'm just going to be. I'm going to be joining Steve with Deadly December. I'm going to be reading mysteries all December.
Joining him as a co-host or joining?
No. It's very informal. And he of course, Steve. He says I'm alone and I'm an angry incel and I'm going to do Deadly December and nobody's going to join me. And I figured, I'm going to join him in Deadly December. I'm going to be reading mysteries anyway.
No, that was the irony. Was Steve was the one who was for all these weekly lives.
Oh,
yeah. But I'm hanging in for my vacation plans, and I'm going to literally create a TBR because there's a lot of books I want to get to that I haven't managed through the various themes to get to. But while I've got the floor, can I take a moment just on behalf of everybody to say thank you to you, Mark, for the massive amount of work that you've put into Dr. November. We've all had a lot of fun, and I know a lot of us dipped in and out as life has buffeted us around. But you've been a real sort of captain of the ship, steering it on and on and on, and it's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I mean, I'd like to have done more. I feel very bad over the Discord group. I'm terrible. I just keep forgetting about it. You know, whether it's because I'm getting older and it's just one technology too far for me, I don't know, but I feel awful about that. And I have to say, I was probably actually the laxest I've been in terms of group stuff, but I didn't want to overwhelm people. I wanted to remove all sorts of prompts. Now they work well for some things, but I just think with something like this, you can pick up anything and just go with it. But thanks for that. And I will be back next month with my informal Du Maurier December. And I'm hoping, of course, at least Jim and I will be reunited in February for Homes is Where the Heart Is, if that goes ahead. And Mike, you know, maybe some point next year, if you host a read along of Bryce Courtney or something, I'll be there for sure.
Well, I have to tell you, I've got a lot of Du Maurier on my TBR, so I might have to think about what you just said.
Well, you know, I tell you, you could do worse. And she's not, you know, they're not big books. Well, you know, they're not huge, some of them anyway. And
I need to really sit down and prioritize.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Do take care. And see you all soon. Cheerio.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.